Hey, it's Michael with the Y, and you're listening to My Reality Recap. Today, I am with Project Runway Under The Gunn runner-up Sam Donovan. Sam, thank you so much for calling in today.
Hey, no problem.
So, I want to talk about you before we talk about the runway that happened. When did you first start designing clothes?
Oh man, when did I start designing clothes? I think I started designing like Barbie clothes back when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because I just decided Barbie didn't have fabulous enough clothes. I got Sparkle Beach Barbie for my birthday one year, and all she had was a swimsuit, which kind of looks like a hussy. So I started designing clothes for her, and my mother would like cut them and sew them, and yeah, I guess I started designing for Barbie.
Not many people say they started out with Barbie, I don't think.
Yeah.
Who do you look to for your fashion inspiration? Like, when you go to design something, who do you draw inspiration from these days?
Oh, it's always different, but it tends to always be about like being inspired by a woman. I've used Amelia Earhart. I've used Joan Didion. The collection that I'm working on right now, I'm using Serena Williams, and that whole debacle that happened where like someone said that she looked like a man, and J.K. Rowling was like, "Oh yeah, this is what my man," or like looked like in a dress. Shut up. But it's always about like some quality that like some particular woman has. It's always about like, you know, a woman sort of defying her role in society and being herself, because women tend to be like oppressed for stupid reasons, like just like dumb reasons.
So if you could pick one celebrity to have wear one of your outfits that you make, who would that celebrity be?
That's difficult.
Or top three, if you can't pick one.
I mean, I love to dress Taylor Swift. I think Zoe Saldana is super fabulous. And I also am in complete love with Viola Davis right now.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially after that speech. I might have to use her as inspiration at some point. So yeah, probably those three right now, my top three.
So what made you decide to be on Project Runway Under the Gunn?
Well, so I had sort of like, I didn't know that fashion design was a career until I saw Project Runway. And I have always been a fan of Project Runway. Like, there are a lot of people who've gone on Project Runway and they're like, I've never seen the show. And there are also a lot of us that are like, oh my god, I love Project Runway. Like, I know that Dom Streeter from season 12 is like a huge fan of Project Runway. So I had like grown up watching the show, and it like sort of was a part of my journey, like in finding out who I was as a designer and all that jazz. So when I was graduating college, I actually had almost failed out my senior year twice, and that disqualifies you from being able to show at panel. But my panel date happened to be an open call for Project Runway, so I was like, you know what, this is way too serendipitous for me to pass up. I'm gonna go present to Project Runway. And they liked my stuff, but they were like, you know, like, you're in school still, take the summer, relax, like, you know, just enjoy not being in school for a hot second. And then I ended up applying for season 13, I think, and then they called me and they were like, so we have this new show that we're setting up called Under the Gunn, and we think that you would be really good for it, just because of the nature of the way that it's set up. And that was that. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And I ended up being on Under the Gunn, flying out to LA like 10 days later.
Oh, wow. So what was the whole experience like? Because it looks like you guys are always having to make clothes like every single day. Like, you're doing something and you guys like don't have a break. What is that whole experience like as a designer? Is it hard to get your ideas so quickly?
I think that what can happen is that you sort of fall into a rut of like, oh, well, this works, so I'll just keep doing it. Which, you know, is fine if you want to be safe or you want to like sort of coast along for a little while, but if you're not like constantly pulling out like a new sort of surprising design, then, you know, the judges get a little bored. But, you know, if you just sort of accept that you're in a situation that you will likely never be in again unless they call you for All-Stars, and that you have basically like unlimited creativity to do whatever the hell you want for like 2 months, and they're going to feed you, and they're going to house you, and they're going to pay for all your fabric, then you can really basically, it's a really inspiring feeling to be able to literally do anything. And I don't think enough Project Runway designers take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it that way. I mean, I feel like if I was on it, I would be able to make some stuff and be grateful about the whole situation.
The thing that always bugged me was when people would like complain. They'd be like, "Oh, they don't give us enough time." It's like they're giving you like free everything. It's like, shut up.
So, what advice do you have for people who want to apply to be on Project Runway? Do you have any good advice for how to get on the show versus, and then also while they're on it?
Oh man. Well, the advice that I would give to people who are on the show or who want to be on the show is, be ready to sort of exaggerate various parts about yourself. Project Runway wants to know that you're like a great designer, but they also obviously want you to be like right for their brand, their competition.
Right.
People think like, oh, Project Runway, it's like all I have to do is like sew really well. It's like, no, you don't. Like you have to be able to like sell yourself as a brand. Like the people that we're watching this season, like the people who are doing the best are the people who can convey themselves as a brand well. Candace and Ashley and Edmund, Kelly to a certain extent. They're all doing really well because they know who they are, not only as designers, but as like sort of as who they want to sell to as well. There are plenty of, I would say, more talented designers who just like had no grasp on the whole, what does Tyra Banks call it, like fashion-tainment aspect of the show. So they they just sent them right home.
So what's next for you? Like, what are you working on? What is the next big thing Sam Donovan's going to do?
So I work for a company right now, but I am not allowed to say that I work for them. It's like ridiculous, but I have absolutely no idea why. But they're like, oh, just for HR reasons, you're not allowed to, when you're talking about Project Runway, you're not allowed to mention our company. It's like,
oh, okay.
Holy shit. That's bizarre. But so I've been working for this company for about 6 months, and it's great, and I'm living in New York City, and it's awesome, and I'm working on this, Serena Williams collection right now. It's coming out November 5th at Fashionably Late in Boston. It's a super cool event. You watch a fashion show and get drunk, basically. It's fantastic.
Huh.
Boston, everything has to revolve around drinking. But yeah, and just sort of like exploring the directions that my career can go in at this point.
Would you ever go on another Project Runway?
Would I ever do All Stars, are you asking me?
Yeah, would you ever go on and do it again?
To be determined.
Okay.
To be determined.
Okay, so let's talk about the runway that happened. The Final 7 had a Just Fab style persona challenge. And so the 5 different styles of a Just Fab girl are Bombshell, Trendsetter, Girl Next Door, Modern Classic, and Femme Nouveau. If you could have picked one, which one would you wanted to make an outfit for?
Oh, God. It was... Okay, remind me. Sorry. Because all I could think of when they were introducing that part of the challenge, I was watching it with a friend of mine, and I was like, does that chalkboard really look there? It looks like they CGI'd in the chalkboard, does it not? Like, didn't it kind of look fake?
It did.
Did anyone else?
Yeah, now that I think about it, it did kind of look fake. But didn't they check? Didn't they check it off though?
No, they definitely did, but it just looked so fake. Again, I probably was drinking, but
okay.
I've had to drink my way through this season. I'm sorry. So it was Bombshell, Trendsetter, Femme Nouveau. What else?
Girl Next Door and Modern Classic.
Oh God! I mean, anyone who was gonna choose Modern Classic was setting themselves up for failure. Seriously, that was. I mean, and Candace was actually. I thought she did a really good job in picking everyone what she thought they would do best in. Like, Candace is a smart player. Like, she's not gonna sort of screw people over, but she is so shit talky behind their back.
Uh-huh.
Which one would I have chosen? You know what? Bombshell would have been a lot of fun to play with. I think that actually, of the two people that got Bombshell, I am shocked at the direction that each of them went in. But I was pleasantly surprised by one and horrified by the other.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that would have been a lot of fun. I feel like Sam Donovan would have been really fun. But at the end of the day, and we saw on the runway, like, they didn't really care about design. They really were looking for something that was easy to manufacture.
Right, and that was the point of the challenge. They had to make something that would be easily mass-produced to be sold on Just Fab. And some of the people, I don't think, really remembered that. Like, Marlene, her dress would have been really hard to recreate. I thought, anyways.
Marlene is confusing to me because half the time I'm like, you know what? Marlene's doing something cool and different. The other half of the time I'm like, the fuck is going on inside of Marlene's head?
Uh-huh.
Like, I get it. Like, she's more of an artist than a designer, and she's really just starting to, at the end of the day, you've really got to be able to figure out, like, what it's going to sell.
Right.
And just clearly, that was not a marketable dress at all.
So, what were your two favorite looks? The judges couldn't decide on what they didn't have any top or bottom looks last night because they were all over the board. So, if you had to pick your top two favorites, who were your top two?
Can I phrase that ever so slightly differently?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can pick two favorites. The two that I thought had the best potential to go on Just Fab as sort of like a Project Runway branded design, and sell really well, and they were really well designed for the challenge. I actually think that Ashley did fantastic. I thought that she was totally robbed. That jacket would sell like bagels, as Heidi Klum used to say. And like it's a recognizable piece. I was talking to Mila Ermanovsky from Project Runway Season 7 and All-Star Season 1, and we were both like, that's the piece that you buy, and you're like, oh my god, like, I got this jacket from, it was on Project Runway. Whereas the winning piece was sort of like, you could get that anywhere.
Very true.
Like, literally anywhere. And you would make it yourself in 30 minutes. And then actually, I thought Kelly's little like legging crop top ensemble was pretty cute too. But that friggin' vest, yeah.
I don't like the vest, but Kelly's one of my favorites. I personally like her. I like that she does something different. I mean, I don't think she's gonna win, but I like to see what she comes up with each week. Personally,
I don't know. I am very behind Kelly, like sticking to her guns. But like there comes a point where you're holding like moldy blue, like faux fur
Cookie Monster.
crap.
Isn't that what Zach said last night? It was like Cookie Monster.
Whatever he said, I'm sure it was. Well, I'm pretty sure it was said to him. But I'm pretty sure it was accurate. Like it was such a. I have no problem with like a blue fur vest. Like sure, like give me a blue fur vest. Not that blue fur vest. God no. Like hell no.
So the winner of the challenge ended up being Edmund, and it was, like you said, it was a dress that could be sold anywhere. You could find it anywhere. And I mean, it was pretty. Like, I feel like it was a good dress, but I do feel like Ashley did get robbed.
I mean, I have no words. Like, I cannot believe that, like, a little red hooker dress won a challenge on Project Runway. Like, I think Zach at some point screamed, like, it's a design competition. And they, like, embarrassingly chose to, like, give it to something that is quite frankly not a design.
Uh-huh.
This dress, anyone could have done it. There is no signature to it at all. I guess it had some straps and some gathering, but, Edmund does... Oh, and for all of the, like, Lori, made a one scene with the back. He added like a tube for a bonnet and some like straps. But yeah, like I was saying, like there's no one is going to buy that dress to be like, oh, like this is the winning dress from, you know, that episode of Project Runway. Like it's just not going to happen.
And so the eliminated contestant last night was Lori, and she had this like blue and black dress, and the top it went straight up to her neck, and you could see the boobs and on the runway. And that's like the second week in a row you could see that on that girl.
I mean, last week that was pretty bad. Yeah. I really didn't mind sort of how much boob we saw today, or last night, and I thought it was kind of bullshit of, I think, again, it was Zach, who was like, oh, you know, there's no design here. Like, you shitting on me? Like, at least she's got that, like, cool top that plays with transparency. Like, Edmund literally has, like, a, like, dress that you can buy for $5.99, like, on a street corner.
Okay, so no spoilers, because I don't know what you know. Who is your pick to win the season? Because we're down to the final 6, or who do you want to see win?
So I had the opportunity to go to New York Fashion Week and see all of their collections. And everyone's remaining showed a collection. Whether or not they're in the like final 3 or 4, I don't know. But based off of like what I've seen thus far in the competition, I would love to see. Actually, based off of like both, I would love to see either like Ashley or Swapno win. You know, I don't think it's a particularly guarded secret at this point that Ashley showed a range of plus size clothing, and it like I screamed when they turned the corner, like just screamed. It was such an emotional moment. It was such a great moment for the show, and then Swapno's collection was just beautiful. So.
And see, I feel like Ashley's my pick to win because I feel like they've been giving her a good edit too. Like they had that whole moment where she got picked on, and they show her like winning, and I feel like they're making her into being a winner and make everybody like her. That's just my perspective of looking at it from like a reality TV fan point of view. But I mean, I like her. I think she does great stuff. So she's my pick to win.
I mean, from a reality standpoint, Sam Donovan has been pushing this whole idea of, you know, like let's do a plus size season of Project Runway. So I like can't help but think like, you know, have they sort of been like? Ashley's done mostly good work throughout the season. There have been a couple of times where she's really struggled.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, is she sort of like getting like a little bit of an advantage because they like her, or you know, is she just sort of getting lucky in these instances where she's like super lucky now? But you know, I would be very interested to see if Ashley does end up winning, if they do a plus size season of Project Runway afterwards.
Yeah, that
would like ushering that in, following that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Sam. This was a lot of fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
So how can all of my listeners find you on social media?
They can find me basically anywhere at Sam is Blonde, no E at the end of Blonde. And, you know, I look forward to hearing from them.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I put all of his information up on my website and on this podcast. I want to thank Sam again so much for joining me, and I want to thank all of you for listening to this podcast. If you like what you heard today, please click that subscribe button and give this podcast a 5-star rating. That'll make me feel really good inside, and I want to keep the conversation going with all of you. Tweet me at Mike with Y or hashtag MYRR to let me know all of your thoughts and feelings about Project Runway and all the other shows we talk about on My Reality Recap. Keep up with me on social media. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Michael with a Y, and that is spelled exactly as it is on here. Don't forget to smile, and remember, glasses are sexy.